Welcome to another edition of Ask Us Anything. The rules: 1, has to be about cars, preferably cars and pickups, not weird Russian tractors. 2, keep it clean. And 3, it has to be something you can't find on Google. So we don't want to explain suspension geometry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of a 92 watt. What are we sitting in?
What are we sitting in?
We are sitting in a very profound, I think one of 2 in South Africa.
Very
Am I
rare
right?
car in South Africa. In the States, probably not as rare. UK, they also have a few. Right-hand drivers. In fact, in the States, this is called an Acura. Or did they make a Haaahnda version?
That sounds accurate.
Accurate. Did they have an Acura, or was it
I think it was
or
actually.
did they make a Haaahnda version? Because this is actually a Haaahnda, isn't it? This is a Haaahnda-themed Ask Us Anything.
Yes, this is a Haaahnda-themed.
Yeah, Haaahnda. Because we are sitting in a very, very rare and nice Haaahnda.
It's got an aluminium body. It's got a 3-liter V6.
Which is right here, behind
us. It's feeling quite warm.
In the middle of the car.
And it's got 270 brake horsepower, 206 kilowatt.
It revs to 8,000 RPM, which is what I like.
All the Honda enthusiasts I know already.
Yeah, they do. They know
no,
what
it's
it is.
an NSX.
You gave me.
Sorry.
No, that's cool. This is a manual because in a museum that way is a blue one, but it's an automatic.
And
the
this?
Rupert Museum, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
a blue one.
It's an automatic, a UK car,
really?
eh? Yeah.
It's got different wheels than this one.
I think it's a later one too.
And
this one, we should probably, hang on, let me show you. This one has a speedometer that goes to 180 kilometers an hour, which means it's a Japanese car, right?
And they are restricted, eh?
They are.
You only...
NSX. Yes. Aftermarket says it Bose. Now, where were you guys situated? Sorry, I might have to cut all of this out and edit it again.
Okay.
How's that?
And this actual car was the face car of, is it the 92 Grand Prix that was held in
Kyalami. I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes, this was specially imported by Mercedes-Benz South Africa because they had the agency for Haaahnda. And they brought it in as a pace car for, I believe that was the Formula 1 Grand Prix in Kyalami. One of the last ones.
I even remember seeing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if you have any footage, please show us.
Yes.
Give us links or send us info@galimoto.co.za or in the comments, which by the way, that's where you put all your questions. And we are happy to take questions about the NSX. Although this car usually sleeps on a bed of peacock feathers. No, it actually doesn't. No, it gets driven quite a bit. We don't have access to it all the time, but if you have really pertinent questions, we can get it back again and answer those.
Yes.
We're happy to.
And actually, although I'm a petrolhead, I'm so much a Honda lover, although I really enjoy other cars as well.
Yes.
But today I want to talk about just some cars I've owned.
Yes, because
and
that was
it's
one of the...
not about me, it's about the cars.
It was one of the questions we got,
Yeah.
is what car do you drive or what vehicles do you have? Someone asked that basically.
Please share with us.
Yes, tell us what you drive.
Wheels.
And
even if it's not a...
This guy. Wheels on it.
Is that a Raptor?
That's a pickup truck.
Okay, that was a...
Yeah, sorry about that noise.
for the ads.
Or having to silence that because that's very noisy. Yes, so...
Let's talk about earlier Hondas. And
did you know that Honda, well I just gave that away as well, Honda was distributed by Mercedes-Benz in South Africa. They weren't actually officially together, but somehow in South Africa they sold them. Also, the showrooms were next to each other or sometimes even in the same lot, weren't they?
Yes.
And a lot of the 90s, late 80s, early 90s to late 90s Hondas had the same paint colors as Mercedes-Benz and the same Becker radios and all of that. So they shared a lot of components because they were built in the same factory in East London.
I think so.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
What's very interesting, do you know that there was a AMG Honda?
Yes.
With the big rims?
It was more cosmetic. Yes.
Was it more cosmetic?
There are 90s AMG Mercs as well, which were cosmetic, and then also mechanical. But the Hondas were mostly cosmetic, weren't they?
I think that was a code-named SR4 version, sort of 92 onwards, more bubble shape.
Yes.
It was after the
pop-up headlights, and then
after
you got
this
that
one.
guy, yes.
This is a hard copy, almost.
And we call it Ballade, eh?
Yeah,
which is actually a Civic somewhere else,
this
wasn't
was
it?
a Civic.
Civic, yeah.
Yeah, we called it a Ballade.
Ballade, that's
And
right.
then the Ballade came and it became a Civic again.
Yes.
And then
we
there was a
have
Ballade
that,
again.
We had that quite a bit. There was someone asking about Toyotas as well, because Toyota here had a Conquest, which was a Corolla,
Yes.
an Auris, which was a Corolla, a Runix, which actually is between that. That's all of those are actually Corollas. So, and Taz, which was the GP version. So, South Africa often has like special names for regular cars.
I think the Runix RSI in the UK was a T-Sport or something like that.
But a Corolla hatchback T-Sport, something like that, yes.
Yeah. Yes, and in South Africa we had quite a...
Prelude there?
Yes, actually this is a...
Generation...
This is a 92. This is actually the same year car as this NSX.
Ah, 92, yes, that's the early 90s one.
You didn't get this in VTEC, this was a standard 2.2.
2.2.
It was quite a lazy engine.
Reasonably revvy.
Yes.
I have an anecdote about this car. So, if my best friend from school in Windhoek, his dad wanted to buy a fancy car. So, they looked at like, I think a Ferrari 348 or something.
Sure. Yeah.
And then at some point, I think he was friends with the dealers in Windhoek. He eventually got an M3, one of the first E36s. But in between that, or before it, he ordered a Honda Prelude, or Prelude, as some people call it. And the dealer, I think it was a dealer in Uppington or something. But anyway, he said he kept him updated because the car was built in Japan. And right-hand drive, everything, and was shipped and arrived somewhere in Durban or PE at a harbour in South Africa, was offloaded, driven out of its container, and another container, the chain burst, it flattened the car.
Yes.
So he got a phone call that half the car was flat, it was a pancake. But for some reason they found another one somewhere, and that was a silver one, and he had it for a few months. He even took us for a drive. I remember that car. 2.2.
Was that a manual or?
Manual, reasonably ready, but he pretty much quickly traded that up against the M3, which he enjoyed quite a bit.
Interestingly, that M3 it came out with a 3-litre straight 6.
Yes, that's the one I like. 2 doors, 3-litre,
more
manual.
More or less the same, 210 kilowatts.
210,
almost the same kind of...
Not the American version, the European version, which has the independent throttle bodies and higher revving and the American M3 E36 is basically a 328i. You even got it with an automatic gearbox.
Oh, okay. And then that engine became 3.2.
3.2 and 230 odd kilowatts.
Yes, and then it went to 252.
And that was also because Merc had the C36 and then the C43, and they were competing. Obviously, that's when the horsepower wars sort of got going.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Merc brought out the C32.
Yes,
and
the
then
supercharged one.
Yes.
C55. Love one of those. By the way, have you seen this?
No, I've never seen that.
This is so that the sun doesn't come through here while you're driving.
That's
the third.
Sure. I was expecting a mirror in there.
And then
we should do B-roll on this probably.
Yes. Okay, this doesn't move because some of them. Oh no, it does. It flips out for the side. Some of them even move further back. On SUVs, you also get secondary ones.
Okay.
Oh, okay, then. Ladies, bad news. There's no vanity light here. Is there one on your side?
No, and there's actually no space behind us, but the boot is quite big.
And the boot is behind the engine, because it's a mid-engine car, and then there's a boot behind it under that spoiler. Hey?
What you're actually seeing now, which is B-roll, that we will
yes, we're going to just put it in.
Yeah.
And out.
Yes.
Yeah. These stalks are fascinating. I'm going to take you off again. You're probably going to fall down again because I want to show you all of this lovely stuff. This is what amazes me. This is a 92 car, but they started building this in the late 80s already. And well, let's assume it's in early 90s. Climate control, early 90s. Steering wheel buttons, airbags. Okay, it's got one airbag.
And it
doesn't have
even
two, but I'm so far away here.
Japanese sign.
That's cool.
I don't know what that means.
Can someone tell us what that means? We're asking you questions now.
Yes.
Look at these stalks. And there's the headlight one. Why don't you put the headlights on? There. Sorry about the trash can. Don't litter, people. Do not litter. Okay. Wait. We're going to drain the battery out here.
Yes.
Oh, and then that I wanted to show. I was telling Nico earlier. Can you see that top row of lights? The one on the left says ALB. And then TCS is traction control. SRS is the airbag safety restraint system. ALB means anti-lock brakes. Because the Germans, Siemens or Bosch, whoever made ABS brakes, anti-lock brakes, they didn't sell it to the Japanese, so they made their own version called ALB, anti-lock brakes.
Well, that's the first time
I've never seen that
today.
before. Yep.
Yeah. But it's such a, it's an everyday car, driving car. You can, it's easy to drive.
I've driven it a few times before, this very car, and I was just telling him the anecdote of how I drove it in a parade around Cape Town's central business district for an hour or two. And yeah, the clutch you have to get used to, but it didn't overheat, it didn't stall, it didn't break down, it didn't fry anything, it just drove. So if you can get used to the clutch, you can use this every day.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And it's actually not bad on fuel. I drove to a town down in South Africa, George. We got 11 kilometers per liter. That's about what, 8-9 liters per 100. Okay, that was cruising.
8,000 miles per gallon.
That was cruising at around 70 miles per hour, 120. We were just cruising.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 120.
Yeah.
And 5-speed gearbox. Did they ever made a 6-speed?
Ratio, eh?
And not just close ratio, the throw.
Also,
have you got the clutch in? Just want to do a dry shift. You can hopefully see this. The throw from one side up and down is quite close, but from this to that,
it is
the lateral movement is so close.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
That is.
Yes.
I would like to see that, the mechanical.
There's only one gearbox action lever thing that's better than this, and it's another Haaahnda. It's the S2000. An S2000 gearbox, you don't have to move your hand or your arm.
Just your fingers.
You just lay it here and you just move your wrist. That's how small the action is.
Now,
I love that car. I don't fit in it. I hardly fit into this one. But Honda S2000.
On that point, I had a Honda Civic Type-R in the UK, EP3, the one you're seeing now.
Bread van.
The bread van.
That's what they call
it. With the gear levers at the top.
So here, next to your face.
Next to your face, which I will show.
And people always, I think it's a Clarksonitis, as I call it. Whatever the good man Clarkson said is gospel, but it isn't actually. Your bread van is the last cool Type-R or whatever, and the one after that, the FN2, which I like.
Yes.
I really like that because of the noise of the engine. Yet again, throttle bodies and all of that.
Honestly, the FN2's noise is better than the EP3.
That's what I thought.
Definitely.
But the handling is not as great because they simplified the rear suspension.
And also the car was a bit heavier. VTEC, they tried to compensate for the weight by letting VTEC come in earlier.
Okay.
And it had 1 horsepower more.
Oh, that's one. Oh, that car sounds good.
But I'll still buy one.
Still in my 20 car garage will be one of those.
Yes.
On rotation with something or whatever. I like the shape, that UFO shape of the FN2.
I think the
dashboard and the interior, I thought it was fantastic. It was crazy. Finally, a cool Honda.
And also, I think
this one is fun.
2011, the LSD came out together with the championship model,
which I also had on test. It was a silver one.
Silver one.
Yeah, most of them were white. Also, that color is called championship white.
Yes.
But we had a silver press car on test.
I think the versions from South Africa, the wheels.
I wrote a love letter to it.
I wrote it and I really enjoyed it.
Which one?
The love letter.
Yes.
It was a really good write-up, honestly.
Maybe I'll put the link in the description below.
I think you should do
Did
that.
we have any more Honda questions? Did you have any?
I mean, we can talk all day.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Again, coming back to what do you guys drive? I only drive a different brand at the moment, but Honda, S2000, if I can find a clean one, it would be a weekend toy because I hardly fit in it. Should lose some weight. NSX, I have put my name down for this car and the owner knows it. FN2,
Yeah,
what other Hondas? Oh, your ex-Honda, you fool, you sold it. But I'm the fool, I never bought it. I should have bought your Accord.
I had a Honda Accord Euro R,
Euro
blue
R.
one, bought in Wales, close to Cardiff.
In Wales?
It
What was it doing there?
Actually, there's a company in the UK called Talk GT. They import JDM cars.
They are a glorious waste of time on Facebook. You can just scroll all the
Yes,
up
yes.
and down.
Talk GT.
GTRs and Type-R, anything with an R, you'll find there.
Yes.
Nice. Oh, we want some money for giving you free promotion there.
Yes. Talk GT. Like.
Or a car. Some stickers. We'll put it on this, slap it on the back.
Yes. Yeah, we'll do that. They are sitting close on the border of Wales.
Okay. Did you buy it from them?
No. I was a second owner in the UK.
Okay.
The guy that
imported it from Japan, because it's a Japanese car.
It is.
Yeah.
That guy actually had a FD2 before the Accord.
Ah.
Interestingly.
Right.
And he enjoyed the Accord actually more, because it's quite an executive soft rider. It's got LSD, it's got the same motor as a DC2 Integra, which is also, I think we need a bigger storeroom, garage.
And wallet. Those two things were keeping me from buying your car. That's why I never test drove it either. I knew I was never going to forget it if I did.
DC2 as well. DC2 Integra, which is the earlier one. A lot of people say that's the best front wheel drive handling car.
There are a few knocking about in southern Africa, via Namibia, Botswana, Malawi, Mozambique, whatever. So if you have one for sale, or you're the previous or current owner of his Euro R, give us a shout. Yes.
I know, I actually heard that there was an NSX in South Africa that was written off.
Could be.
Because the guy caught a puddle of water.
Yep.
And it
swung him around.
Waterplane, what do you call it?
Aquaplane.
Aquaplane.
And then, speaking of enthusiastic driving, there is a video of Ed and Senna, who was involved in the development of the car, driving it around a racetrack. And one of the cameras is on his feet.
In a heel and out.
He's heel entering, left foot braking. Wow. Wow.
I also saw a video
Spent a lot of time looking at that instead of letting it.
Sorry. Cut. I also saw a video of...
Ricardo Patrese with his wife in an FN2, which I love.
Yes.
Madam, I feel so sorry for you. You got famous for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
And he's just smiling. I'm so divorced. I'm so sleeping on the couch tonight. No. Giving him all of that.
That was a good video.
Related. What's this?
Oh, look at this. This was also
That's my
had
question.
in the picture that you will see just now. The picture of this car and the CLX.
In the background or the foreground?
My dad actually bought me this the other day. I had a CLX.
Yes.
They call it the baby NSX.
Was it also called Del Sol?
Do you know what's...
Something?
That's the next one.
Oh, it's the next one.
Do you know what CLX stands for?
Compact Recreational Crossover.
Civic Renaissance Model X.
Oh, nice. And this one, NSX, is?
Ooh, I don't know.
New sports car experiment.
Oh, okay.
I think.
But this car was, after the Prelude, I had this. It had the same power as a Prelude, but from a 1.6.
Yes.
This did 0 to 60 in your terms, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 8.7 seconds.
That's very brisk
for the 1.6. And I just loved this. I shouldn't have sold it.
Oh, don't get me started.
That is
Volvo C30 with the 5-cylinder Volvo Ford engine in it.
You know what? I told those guys about Cars and Coffee.
And?
I thought they should have turned in here. Okay, next time.
Yes, I'm suddenly coming over all Doug DeMuro-ish, and I want to show you some buttons. Because while we're talking, look at that. Half. Oh, sorry, there. Half antenna.
Aerial?
It's the aerial at the back somewhere here. Oh. And if you're driving really quickly, you can press it and it goes halfway down. That is a fog light, which if you drive in South Africa, you have to have on.
Okay,
our friend has arrived. He has arrived and he wants to have a good look. How's it? And then bass and treble, you pull here. That's quite cool, balance.
Okay.
And these stalks, I've never seen that before.
He's probably going to stop this video very soon.
Yes, he is. So we're going to have to wrap up. If you have any questions in general, but also about the Haaahnda NSX, which is also,
Also,
an Acura.
what I want to share, after this, I had a Del Sol that he just
did?
wrote. That,
Ah.
yes, in the UK, this one.
Yeah.
And it had the VTEC motor of the B16
Cool.
that we had in the one of the bubble shapes.
Do you know this guy?
I think he's from SND Audio, which
Okay.
is just a local.
And he wants to come play.
I think he wants to talk.
Ah,
Yes.
so we're going to have to wrap up.
Okay.
Any Honda questions? Nico's your man. Any old Mercs or Land Rovers, sort of?
On you.
I'll do my best.
And also, I know you also know a lot.
Yes, tell us what we got wrong. Tell us more about this car. And of
Yeah.
course, ask us your questions. 1, about cars, NSX and Haanndas. 2, keep it clean. And 3, anything
Before
you
we
can't
stop-
find on Google or Wikipedia. Yeah.
Before we cut, apparently they had the biggest Honda day the other day with the most Hondas in Cape Town.
Oh, cool. New
It was
record.
over 600 Hondas at one place.
That is
I think they broke the record.
Hopefully we can put some footage and
Yes.
some links in, because I once took part, and I think it was broken eventually, in the longest procession of Land Rovers ever, also in Cape Town. I was part of that record.
Wow.
But it was broken a few years later, no doubt by the Brits. Well done.
Sure.
Cool.
Cool.
See you again soon for another
Yes.
one. Drive safely.
Don't forget to buckle up.
Bye.
Nice.